Winning in this market with a 2-1 buy down. Okay, guys, I'm on a roll and I'm going to keep talking about this buy down stuff because there's so much to know. The market has shifted and interest rates are higher than they were last year. Actually, they're higher than they were just about 6 months ago. So the problem is the media is out there and they're telling your clients that this is not a good time to buy because interest rates are higher. And they're leading people to believe that home ownership is no longer affordable. But we can combat this negative noise with effective rate buy down strategies. Our real estate partners and clients are seeing a lot of success and winning in this market with a 2-1 buy down. So what is a 2-1 rate buy down? It essentially is a temporary buy down where the seller is going to contribute towards the buyer's closing costs. So let's just say $10,000 in this scenario. And in lieu of using that $10,000 to actually help them offset their actual closing cost, the buyer is choosing to use the $10,000 to buy down the payment for the first 2 years of the loan. So here's kind of how it works. In a 2-1 buy down, let's say that the current going rate is, let's just call it 6%. 30-year fixed rate, 6% conforming loan. I'm just throwing that out there. In our scenario, what happens on a 2-1 buy down is the first year would drop to a payment based on a 4% interest rate. The second year, the payment moves to an interest rate based on 5%. And then the third and final year, the interest rate goes to the actual note rate of the 6%, if that's where the note rate was locked. So what does this do for buyers? It gives them time to adjust to the current market. It also gives the market time to get through what it's going through. Interest rates are definitely very volatile right now, and we're continuing to see, like, it's day by day, you guys. This is a tough mortgage-backed security market. Trust me, every day, lots of volatility, lots going on in the economy, and inflation is still not under control. So what that means for home loan rates is inflation bad for home loan rates. That's just the easy way to think about it. So we're not through this yet, which means that we're probably going to see interest rates continue to struggle, continue to rise. But there will be a turning point where interest rates settle in and very likely will have time to come down. And people ask me all the time, like, well, when do you think that is? Well, I mean, nobody really knows, but forecasting, we're thinking probably late next year is when we'll see interest rates start to settle in and potentially come back down. But for now, people still want to buy houses, and they want to buy houses at today's prices. And so the affordability part of the equation is really the key. So what we're doing is we're helping to educate both our listing agents as well as our selling agents on how to use these strategies. So we've got some fantastic forums. If you're a listing agent, we can build out an open house flyer that shows you a buy down option. Now, let's face it, not everybody's going to want to use the seller concessions of, in our scenario, $10,000, let's say, to actually do a 2-1 buy down. That's okay. There's so many different ways that a buyer can utilize those funds. But the key here is that if they wanted to and they needed that ability to have some affordability in the first 24 months of their home loan, then a 2-1 buy down could be a great option. Now, over the weekend, this just came up. We had a buyer that was in contract negotiations, and they were negotiating the purchase price together with the seller concession, because that's all a 2-1 buy down is. The lender's just using the seller concessions to actually buy down the payment for the first 2 years of the loan based on lower interest rates. That's all it is. Those funds from the seller go into a subsidy account. The lender uses those to offset the buyer's payments year 1, year 2, year 3, boom. The payment is what it's going to be for the remaining portion of the loan term. But over the weekend, this was interesting because we put together a finance analysis to kind of show the buyer, all right, if you're going to use all of the $10,000 seller concessions for a 2-1 buy down, here's how it looks. If you want to use the $10,000 to actually do a permanent rate buy down, not a 2-1, rate's not changing, payment's not changing, but here's what it looks like, buying down from the current market rate. What does that look like? And then we got into some other options, such as maybe we just do a 1-year rate buy down and then use the remaining money from the seller to actually help reduce the closing cost for the buyer on that loan. So there's so many different ways you can kind of work through how to best use the seller concessions. For us, it really comes down to what's the most important thing for the buyer. Really, what do they need? Do they need to reduce their funds to close? Do they need to have a runway on lower payments for the first year or two? what's really the most important thing? And once we can answer that question, then we can really help them to strategize and better understand how best to use a seller concession. But today, it's all about these buy downs, because what it's doing is just helping people to have another option to potentially go, oh, okay, great. There is a way for me to be able to reduce my payment for the first year or second year, or maybe permanently. So working with an experienced lender that can have these conversations, not only with you, but also your clients, is key. The market has shifted. We have to shift our mindset, and we have to meet the market in the current moment. And right now, affordability is the current market moment that we have to be talking about. And so again, whether you're a listing agent and you want the tools to be able to attract buyers and offer a seller concession towards closing costs and educate selling agents on how to best use those that could benefit their buyers, awesome, reach out to us. Honestly, we have some amazing tools to help you do that. If you're a selling agent and you want to request a seller concession as part of the offer process, and you want to kind of better understand how that really serves your buyer, reach out to us. That's why we're here. You guys, we can do this. We can get through this time, and we will get through this time. But bringing this to the forefront of the conversations and helping make sure that all agents are educated on how best to use this based on their client is the key. Don't hesitate to reach out. We are just a phone call or a text away.